there's an issue we have to take care of here. Snopes has decided to run cover for these people. I don't know why. But Snopes put out kind of a false flag version of these events and then debunked them, but they debunked their own straw man. And here's Snopes and what they got wrong. Let's read the Snopes piece. Did Bill Barr's father mentor Jeffrey Epstein and write a bizarre novel? Mostly false. Claim. Donald Barr, father of U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr, hired Jeffrey Epstein as a teacher, served as his mentor, and wrote a novel about men and teenage girls. Rating. Mostly false. What's true? According to Snopes, Donald Barr was headmaster of Dalton School in New York City until the summer of 1974. In September, the fall of 1974, Jeffrey Epstein began working as a maths and physics professor at the school. In 1973, Barr published a science fiction novel that contained several prominent references to and descriptions of and slavery. What's false? However, Dalton is not an all-girls school and was not so when Epstein worked there. The claim that Barr was Epstein's mentor appears to be no more than idle speculation, unsupported by any evidence. Barr's novel does not celebrate slavery or violence against underage girls. And in one instance, the protagonist brutally murders another character to avenge the rape of a teenage girl. What's undetermined? It's not clear whether Donald Barr played any part in hiring Epstein to work at Dalton School. Okay. I know that the Dalton School does their hiring back then in the spring. So it was Donald Barr who did the hiring for that year in the spring. If I know that, Snopes can know that. The part they say that it's false that Dalton is not an all-girls school, it was when Donald Barr was headmaster, and then he got it changed over. It switched during Donald Barr's tenure. They could put that in there, but they didn't. And so this is what is so disturbing about Snopes doing this deliberately. They're saying it's not an all-girls school when Jeffrey Epstein worked there. But I'm pretty sure Jeffrey Epstein had an idea there's still a lot of girls at the Dalton School. So it's a strange straw man for Snopes to attack that it was or wasn't an all-girls school when Epstein started there. Are they trying to say Epstein doesn't like little girls, or that Donald Barr didn't change it, or what are they doing? It's just ridiculous. And I think it's just something they could attack to try to make the situation more palatable for them. Because for some reason, this Jeffrey Epstein situation that has its tentacles in everything we touch really makes the powers that be uncomfortable, and Snopes is just carrying their water. For instance, Barr's novel does not celebrate slavery or violence against underage girls, and in one instance the protagonist brutally murders another character to avenge the rape of a teenage girl. Okay, Snopes, Barr's novel does not celebrate slavery or violence against underage girls. Let's go. The scene from Space Relations, not celebrating the ravaging of this girl. It was one of the pirates, the big scarred man who had beaten Craig. He was wildly drunk. "Everybody up," he roared. "I don't want you to miss a thing." Most of the captives sat up, blinking. A few wavered to their feet. "Ladies and gentlemen," bellowed the scarred man, "the management takes great pride in presenting for the first time anywhere a new extravaganza entitled The Popping of Little Carrot Top, and starring that dashing debonair darling of 200 worlds, Rick Bastagliano. Ta-da! He half pranced, half reeled in a circle, grinning and shaking hands with himself above his head. "And a talented newcomer to the 3D tanks. Aye, little girl, you will all love Miss Cherry Carrot Top." He advanced, applauding and cheering on a young girl chained at the end of the row in the women's section. She was auburn-haired and prettyish, and could not, Craig thought, have been more than 15. She cringed away from the man. "Give the little girl a great big hand." The man lunged down and seized her free arm, pulling her into the aisle so that she was stretched between his huge fist and her chain. He took the neck of her frock and wrenched. "Ta-da!" The girl whimpered. She had old-fashioned, delicate pink underclothing. The man belched again and tore at the remaining fabric. "Ta-da! Give the little girl a great big hand." For a moment there was no sound except the keening of the De Silva drive. Craig shut his eyes, but he could not shut his ears. Well, it seemed pretty celebratory to me. I don't know how you read those scenes and don't think Donald Barr enjoyed writing them. Ta-da! Sorry. It's ridiculous they're trying to put lipstick on this pig. Your pig, Donald Barr, likes pervert stuff. Snopes also goes out of its way to say the protagonist murdered a character to avenge the assault of this girl. What they leave out is the guy was also forced to breed with a girl who was like a breeder, and he had to force himself on her, and he seemed to enjoy it. It was like a playful assault. Conveniently, Snopes left that out. Then there's this bit where they go on about, is Donald Barr Jeffrey Epstein's mentor? Well, it doesn't really matter if he's his mentor or not. That's another kind of a red herring. If they want to go with the guy who replaced Donald Barr as Jeffrey Epstein's, mentor or the man that hired him, fine. That guy was charged with sexual assault. See, there's a problem with the Dalton school. It's pretty pervy. The teachers are having sex with the kids. Outside people have sex with the kids. Woody Allen made a film called Manhattan, in which he pretty much encapsulates these people's attitudes towards having sex with kids. This is about a Dalton high school student who is 17 years old. Listen to the girlishness of her voice, and listen to how he talks to her.
Are you telling me that you had 3 affairs before me? That's really hard to believe. It's mind-boggling. When I was your age, I was still being tucked in by my grandparents.
Well, they were really immature boys. I mean, they were nothing like you.
No, what does that mean?
Well, I told you before, I think I'm in love with you.
Hey, don't get carried away, okay? This is a terrific thing. Move over there. And it's a wonderful, we're having a great time and all that, but you're a kid, and I never want you to forget that. I want you to enjoy me, my wry sense of humor and astonishing sexual technique, but you don't want to get hung up with one person at your age. It's charming, and erotic, no question about that. As long as the cops don't burst in, I think we're going to break a couple of records. But you can't, it's not a good thing. You should think of me sort of as a detour on the highway of life.
Woody Allen, while he was filming Manhattan, which was about a girl he was having sex with from the Dalton High School, he was getting it on with a real 16-year-old in real life. Bobby Christina Englehart. Aside from an 8-year affair she has with Woody Allen, she does a few 3-ways with Woody Allen and Mia Farrow, which she describes, and then becomes an assistant to Jeffrey Epstein. I would love to know more and what she did for Jeffrey Epstein. It is incredible how disgusting this man was. Jeffrey Epstein's great friends with him, and they would walk around the Dalton school together all the time, probably checking out views. Who knows? But I think that's why the Dalton school is just so embarrassed. It's a place where you send your kids if you want them to have sex with older men. That's what the Dalton school is for. And Snopes really just needs to take this down or re-edit it. It's just not honest. And so at the beginning of this Epstein journey, everyone always portrayed it as he was kind of an outsider getting into Dalton. But considering his perverted proclivities, he was right at home at Dalton. Woody Allen's film Manhattan featured a character, Yale, who was Woody Allen's best friend in the movie, and Yale taught at the Dalton school. Woody Allen's lover is Bobby Christina Englehart. At this time, Epstein, Allen, and Englehart are all around each other with Donald Barr. And Englehart will go on to become Epstein's assistant after being Woody Allen's lover. I really start to get the feeling these people all know each other, and a lot of this was coming together way earlier than we thought. At a certain point, you get a feeling these people are just having a game on us. They're kayfabing us. They're laughing at us as they do this stuff. They drop Easter eggs everywhere to look at in the future and be like, haha, we fooled those idiots. I mean, could you imagine if Donald Barr and Woody Allen, who was such good friends with Jeffrey Epstein, imagine if they crossed paths when Woody Allen was filming Manhattan? That would be crazy if Woody Allen would have Easter egged a space relations reference in Manhattan.
I had a mad impulse to throw you down on the lunar surface and commit interstellar perversion with you.
Ta-da! Thank you for watching. And again, please send anything to tipsforvinny@gmail.com. If you have anything on the Dalton days with Epstein, anything about the Dalton school and their records, we would just love to hear from you.